Welcome back to the Tarkif channel. Today, we unravel one of the greatest mysteries of our planet in Chapter 4, the distribution of oceans and continents. Take a moment to observe the map of the Atlantic Ocean. Look closely at the coastline of South America and Africa. Do you notice something peculiar? The symmetry is striking. It looks almost as if these two massive continents were once pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that could fit perfectly together. This observation isn't new. As early as 1596, a Dutch mapmaker named Abraham Ortelius first proposed the possibility that the Americas, Europe, and Africa were once joined. He suggested they were torn apart by earthquakes and floods. Later, in 1858, Antonio Pellegrini drew a map specifically depicting the three continents cut out and fitted together. But for a long time, this was just speculation. It wasn't until the 20th century that these ideas were formed into a scientific theory. The breakthrough came in 1912. A German meteorologist named Alfred Wegener put forth the comprehensive continental drift theory. Wegener's basic argument was that, millions of years ago, all the continents formed a single continental mass, and a mega-ocean surrounded this landmass. He named this supercontinent Pangaea, which means all earth. He named the mega-ocean Panthalassa, which means all water. According to Wegener, around 200 million years ago, during the Mesozoic era, Pangaea began to split. It first broke into two large continental masses, Laurasia in the north and Gondwana land in the south. Over time, Laurasia and Gondwana land continued to break into various smaller continents that we recognize today. Wegener didn't just guess, he provided rigorous evidence from different disciplines. Let's break them down in detail. 1. The matching of continents, the jigsaw fit. The shorelines of Africa and South America show a remarkable match. It is not just a visual trick. In 1964, Bullard produced a map using a computer program to fit the Atlantic margin. He didn't use the present coastline. Instead, he used the 1,000-fathom line, depth, and the fit proved to be almost perfect. 2. Rocks of same age across the oceans. Using modern radiometric dating, scientists found that a belt of ancient rocks from 2,000 million years ago correlates perfectly from the coast of Brazil to Western Africa. The marine deposits along the South American coast belong to the Jurassic Age, suggesting that before this time there was no ocean separating them. 3. Tilite. Tilite is the sedimentary rock formed out of glacial deposits. The Gondwana system of sediments in India is famous for this. Remarkably, this same system is found in 6 separate landmasses: India, Africa, Falkland Island, Madagascar, Antarctica, and Australia. This creates a paleoclimatic link, proving these lands had similar histories and were once covered by the same ice sheet. 4. Placer deposits. The Ghana coast in West Africa is rich in gold placer deposits, yet there is no source rock in the area. The gold-bearing veins are actually found in Brazil. It is clear the gold in Ghana was derived from the Brazil Plateau when the continents lay side by side. 5. Distribution of fossils. Identical species are found on opposite sides of marine barriers. Lemurs. These occur in India, Madagascar, and Africa. This led some scientists to propose a landmass called Lemuria linking these three. Mesosaurus. This was a small reptile adapted to shallow brackish water. Its keratins are found only in the southern Cape province of South Africa and the Irava formations of Brazil. Today, they are separated by 4,800 kilometers of ocean. The big question remained, what force could possibly move entire continents? Wegener suggested two forces. 1. The pole fleeing force. This relates to the rotation of the Earth. Because the Earth is not a perfect sphere, it has a bulge at the equator. This rotation creates a centrifugal force that Wegener believed pushed continents outward from the poles towards the equator. 2. The tidal force. This is due to the attraction of the moon and the sun, which develops tides in oceanic waters. Wegener believed these forces could slow the Earth's rotation and drag the continents. However, most scholars consider these forces totally inadequate to move massive tectonic plates. Science had to look deeper. In the 1930s, Arthur Holmes discussed the possibility of convection currents operating in the mantle layer. These currents are generated by radioactive elements causing thermal differences. Hot material rises, spreads, cools, and sinks. Holmes argued this system exists across the entire mantle. This provided the force Wegener act. Post-World War II, detailed mapping of the ocean floor revealed it wasn't just a flat plain. It was full of relief. Submerged mountain ranges called mid-ocean ridges were found. Deep trenches were located, mostly near continental margins. The mid-ocean ridges were found to be most active in terms of volcanic eruptions. Dating revealed oceanic crust, rocks, is much younger than continental crust. Nowhere was the oceanic crust older than 200 million years, while continental rocks go back 3,200 million years. We divide the ocean floor into three major divisions. 1. Continental margins, the transition between continental shores and deep-sea basins, including the shelf and slope. 2. Abyssal plains, extensive plains where continental sediments settle. 3. Mid-ocean ridges, an interconnected mountain system, the longest on Earth, characterized by a rift valley at the crest and intense volcanic activity. Combining these facts, Henry has proposed the seafloor spreading hypothesis in 1961. He argued that constant volcanic eruptions at the crest of oceanic ridges cause the crust to rupture. New lava pushes into the crack, pushing the oceanic crust apart. Thus, the ocean floor spreads. Since the Earth isn't expanding, Hess argued that the oceanic crust is eventually destroyed. It sinks down into the mantle at oceanic trenches.
Evidence from paleomagnetism. Rocks formed from magma record the Earth's magnetic field. By studying magnetic stripes on the ocean floor, scientists proved that rocks equidistant from the mid-ocean ridge have the same age and magnetic polarity. In 1967, Mackenzie and Parker, and independently Morgan, unified these ideas into the concept of plate tectonics. A tectonic plate is a massive, irregularly shaped slab of solid rock composed of both continental and oceanic lithosphere. These plates move horizontally over the asthenosphere. The theory identifies 7 major plates. 1. Antarctica and the surrounding ocean. 2. North American, including Western Atlantic and separated from the South American plate along the Caribbean islands. 3. South American, including Western Atlantic. 4. Pacific plate. 5. India, Australia, New Zealand plate. 6. African plate with Eastern Atlantic floor. 7. Eurasian plate and the adjacent oceanic plate. There are also important minor plates. Cocos Plate between Central America and Pacific Plate. Nazca Plate between South America and Pacific Plate. Arabian Plate, mostly the Saudi Arabian landmass. Philippine Plate between the Asiatic and Pacific Plate. Coralline Plate between the Philippine and Indian Plate. Fuji Plate, northeast of Australia.
Plates are constantly moving. We classify their boundaries into 3 types. Divergent boundaries. Here, new crust is generated as plates pull away from each other. The sites where plates move away are called spreading sites. The best example is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Convergent boundaries. Here, the crust is destroyed as one plate dives under another. The location where the plate sinks is called a subduction zone. Convergence can happen between ocean and continent, ocean and ocean, continent and continent. Transform boundaries. Here, the crust is neither produced nor destroyed as plates slide horizontally past each other. They are separated by transform faults. A famous example is the San Andreas Fault. Rate of movement. How fast do they move? The rates vary enormously. The Arctic Ridge has the slowest rate, less than 2.5 centimeters per year, while the East Pacific Rise has the fastest rate, more than 15 centimeters per year. Finally, let's look at the history of our own land. The Indian plate includes peninsular India and the Australian continental portions. Initially, India was a large island situated off the Australian coast in a vast ocean. The Death Sea separated it from the Asian continent. India started its northward journey about 200 million years ago when Pangaea broke apart. About 40 to 50 million years ago, India collided with Asia. This massive collision caused the rapid uplift of the Himalayas. During this journey, a major event occurred, the formation of the Deccan Traps. This started about 60 million years ago. As India moved over a volcanic hotspot near present-day Reunion Island, vast amounts of lava poured out, forming the basaltic plateau we see in western India today. The Indian plate continues to drive into Asia, which is why the Himalayas are still rising. From the supercontinent of Pangaea to the rising Himalayas, the distribution of our oceans and continents is a story of constant, dynamic change. Thank you for watching this detailed breakdown of Chapter 4 on the Taqib channel. If you found this strategic overview helpful, please like, subscribe, and share this journey with your fellow aspirants. If you have any questions regarding what we have discussed today, drop a comment below. I will be personally addressing your doubts to ensure your conceptual clarity is absolute. Until next time, keep studying, stay curious, and I will see you in the next lesson.